people who really want to support journalism in their community, but have never given to journalism before. And so that's why this has become a really fast-growing area of entrepreneurial journalism. So y'all came to a book reading, and you're probably wondering, is there a book in all of this? And there is, but it's not out yet because I wasn't fast enough to get it done in time for the conference. But I'll give you a little preview of what it will look like when it comes out in June. This is going to be targeted towards colleges who are starting entrepreneurial journalism courses and entrepreneurial journalism programs. It'll also be, I think, helpful for these 20-year news veterans who suddenly find themselves either without a job and needing to start something themselves because they want to continue following their passion of journalism, or folks who are working in a newsroom and have their own ideas and really want to see if they can make it go and really do something different and innovative. And so, of course, we live in an era where that's possible. So this takes you through sort of a step-by-step of how to launch your own business after showing you what's working for other startups right now. So like I said, it'll be out in June, and if you want, you can pre-order a copy of it. There's a link on my website at journalism20.com. And with that, I will open it up for questions. Anyone? Yeah?
What advice do you have for the startups that don't have the immediate funding right away? What just to get off the ground and get through those struggling months.
Yeah, launch something, right? So I have a fellowship at the Poynter Institute. We work with a lot of entrepreneurial journalists who come there with nothing but an idea, and they really want to fully form that idea before they ever launch anything. But we try to coach them to really just get something going, to sort of do whatever you can to test your idea with real people, and then you can grow it from there. So, and the other way you can do that, of course, is if you continue to pay the rent. And so for a lot of people, it means doing this as a side project at first while you're testing it with sort of what they call a minimum viable product, kind of startup lingo there. But just sometimes it's a WordPress blog if you're doing a news site, and you see if there's an audience that will respond to it, and try to grow it from there before take a flying leap and quit your job and launch your startup. But it's really important to just get anything out there to see if it resonates with the community, the audience, the customer. Yeah? Well, there are some interesting broadcast journalism. I don't know if broadcast journalism is a tough term now, right? Because broadcast is the internet. And so are you talking more in terms of video journalism or audio?
I was thinking in terms of the old model of large network television versus the affiliate model of local stations that represent a large television network. How you could locally be a journalist at a local level and still market nationally.
Yeah, I think
there is a relationship between journalism and marketing at the end.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. And I think that we're going to see more disruption in that sort of network local TV model in the coming 5 years than we've seen in the past. I mean, newspapers certainly got disrupted first, but now that video is catching up in terms of people's ability to view it anywhere, anytime, I think you're going to see more of the disruption in those models, and people are already talking about some of the breakups between local affiliates and their network partners, and as over-the-top TV becomes more prominent, people are cutting their cable. I think that arena is going to get really, really crazy in the next 5 years. I mean, I work at a TV station in Seattle, King 5, and we're dealing with internet apps on TVs, right? So we have to deal with how do we develop apps for these internet TVs. There's the iPad. I mean, there's all these different spaces that broadcast suddenly has to play in and make it all work. So, I don't have a crystal ball on that one, but it's certainly going to be fun to watch. Yeah. A business model, I can see it happening, possibly. So those are, those sort of fun, help businesses get started businesses, often don't make it themselves unless there's something else there to sort of support it and sustain it. But I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it wasn't about funding the newspaper. It was about embedding that service
Within a newspaper, just to get it in front of the audience.
kind of crowdfunding initiatives in the community and build services
Right.
into
Oh, okay.
like that.
Yeah.
And other kind of services through my plan right now. Which kind of services can be built into the newspaper?
That's interesting. So there was a panel yesterday about social engagement and getting some platforms in place where news companies can try to connect people who are willing to give with people who need it. So that's certainly a service you could look at. And during that panel, there was someone who, I can't remember his name now, but he started a website called DoSomethingGood.com that just try to promote social entrepreneurship. So I think there's going to be a lot of emerging activity in that space, and especially crowdfunding and different sort of crowdfunding models are really starting to get tested and starting to become more of a mainstream thing. So I don't know if I have any specific ideas for you, but I like your idea. Facebook, obviously is a huge distribution network. It really lowers the cost of marketing and trying to establish a brand because you don't have to pay to have billboards or busboards or radio or TV ads. So from that standpoint, it makes it easier to test an idea. So like what we were talking about over here, you could start a WordPress blog, about your local community, get the word out through Facebook, through your network, and see if anybody will read it. So I think it really helps you get to market sooner and sort of test your idea. Right. Yeah. Right. It's an interesting challenge, and one that every news company faces. Every publisher who's trying to monetize page views on their website as their revenue model. I can tell you that at the TV station where I work, Facebook is our number 3 referral for page views, and so what they do is they create more inventory for us. So the more engagement we have with our community on Facebook, the more it leads to advertising inventory. So we can see a direct return on investment there. A year ago, they were like number 15 referrals. So that growth chart looks pretty good, right? We probably ought to invest in that. And I think so for any other startup, that's where you want to be. So you got to figure out a way to sort of, figure out how to draw that engagement from Facebook to your core product so that you can get the value out of it. But certainly you got to be where they are, right? So if people are on Facebook and you're trying to get something off the ground, you probably ought to be on Facebook too. Yeah. All right. It's 10:20 my time. Oh, I'll do one more question. No, it's okay. Anything you can cut. Well, don't cut the writing stuff, because that's still so essential, is to have good writing. Maybe the history courses. You got to keep the law courses, and I'm sure that's challenging to keep them updated to the point where they're relevant too. But I would say anything involving maybe print design is becoming more of a specialty, right? So maybe 5 years ago, web design or building a web page in journalism would be more of the specialty, and now I would consider that print is more of the specialty, and web design would be more of a mainstream course that you'd want to keep instead. Yeah, sure. All right, thanks for coming out today so early, folks. It's good to see you all, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.